Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Come on, you woolly bastard! Come on!
It begins. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the first ever episode of our brand new miniseries, Sasq.
Sasquatch!
Yes, I'm aware there are other things named that. I looked it up.
I
don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't see any podcast named it. This is a podcast about watching people watch Bigfoot.
Movies.
Did you know that? About movies.
Yeah.
I'm David Bell, one of the hosts.
I'm Tom Ryman, the other host.
And this is brought to you by our Patreon producer, Bob Grenville. Bob!
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob Grenville. Bob Grenville gave us a few basic instructions and a list of Bigfoot movies.
Yeah.
And told us to go at it. Bigfoot, real hot right now.
Yeah,
you
to
know?
go at, like Bigfoot hunters, embracing the spirit of cryptid enthusiasts around the country and just plunge into it.
Right. So we got a long list of Bigfoot movies. We won't tell you what they are. You'll have to discover them as they drop, as the episodes drop.
Right.
But we got a bunch
as they emerge from the tree line.
Oh yeah. And boy, it's going to be fucking wild.
Man, I hope they're all. The thing about Bigfoot I'm coming to learn is that Bigfoot means a lot of different things to a lot of people.
It absolutely does. There's
and
all
apparently
sorts of
this is
Bigfoot
one of
theories.
them. Yes.
Yeah. So we're today getting into the 1988 film Demonwarp, available now from Vidmark Entertainment and Design Projects Incorporated. It's on YouTube. That's the only place you can find it.
This movie barely exists.
Barely. And we're going to go through the plot, and then we're going to tell you what we learned about Bigfoot based on this plot.
Yes.
And then we got a special little ending exercise that we'll get to.
Yeah. But we are documenting this in the interest of cryptozoology. We are going to be copying down everything we learn about Bigfoot and Bigfoot's behavior, migratory patterns, society, language, things like that.
Absolutely.
Ability to juggle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ability to defuse bombs, perhaps.
To defuse bombs, yeah. And steal computers.
Yeah, you'd never guess this is about Bigfoot because it's called Demonwarp.
Yeah.
And I'm still not sure why it's called Demonwarp. I mean, I get a little bit of the Demonwarp vibe from it. This goes places.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Dave. I think it's just a vibe title. Like,
yeah.
I know it's one of those movies that they're just like, these words kind of sound like spooky sci-fi. Demonwarp. There you go.
Yeah. I bet it had multiple titles.
This is probably just the one that tested the best.
Yeah, stars and quotations. Their big get is George Kennedy from The Naked Gun.
Yeah, what on earth am I talking about? They didn't test titles for this.
Yeah.
They sat in a room and were like, Demon Warp! And then slowly everyone in the room started chanting Demon Warp.
And then they did all the cocaine.
Yep. So yes, they have George Kennedy for 4 scenes.
Yep, they paid him $15,000. It was apparently shot in, I don't know if I believe this. According to the trivia, it was shot in the same cabin that Friday the 13th Part 4 was shot, which we just covered, and I didn't spot it. The
exterior of the cabin that George Kennedy is renting with his daughter is the Jarvis cabin from Part 4, for sure.
Okay,
yeah,
there we go.
It definitely is, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and because this is kind of a slasher film, but the way it's built is a slasher film. And what I mean by that is, well, let's get into the beginning. The beginning is
Space. Already a good sign. We're starting in space.
And a comet hits the Earth, and we see this like holy man with what I think was a Hitler mustache. It's hard to tell because it's like a VHS copy.
No, that was a donkey, Dave. That was a donkey he was with.
Yes, he was with a donkey. Talking to him, he finds a comet, and that's that.
He says, "Oh, thank God," and we don't know what year it is, and the credits start.
Yep. And now we get George Kennedy, who is a mess. He's missing buttons,
missing a button on his shirt, just lounging on the floor of his cabin, playing the same copy of Trivial Pursuit that everybody owned.
Yep. Is it his daughter? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, so we're gonna get a little established. Bigfoot, and there comes Bigfoot, just bursting through the fucking door.
I really want to hit how much the first 2 minutes of this scene are a Folgers commercial, and then Bigfoot comes exploding through the door.
He plows down their door. He breaks into their house like a SWAT team, and immediately, like he's casing the place, grabs the daughter, and it's just like, ah! And everybody's screaming.
Yeah.
And then he drags her away.
And George Kennedy passes out.
Yep. And it's, again, we're 5 minutes into this movie, and Bigfoot just broke into a house and stole a lady.
Out of nowhere, they're having this cute scene where they're
broad daylight.
He's like, oh, it's just like, Dad, you can't. Your shirt's missing a button. He's like, oh, I'd like it that way. She's like, let me sew you a new button. He's like, oh, okay, I'll get you my sewing kit. And then he gets up, and we see he's wearing 2 different color socks because he's an old idiot. And she's like, Dad. He's like, what? It doesn't matter what socks I'm wearing. And then Bigfoot.
It's like the producers, the writers sensed our boredom, and I was thinking, like, come on, let's just get some Bigfoot, and they were like, all right, man, you want
Copy
Bigfoot?
That.
Here he is.
Here he is. Send in just Bigfoot.
Smashing through. It's incredible. Just fighting George Kennedy.
Not really much of a fight. He just knocks his ass to the ground.
Yeah. So this is all to say it's a slasher because this is the beginning offer, because then we cut to a bunch of, let's call them teens, 30-year-old teens driving like, we're going to my uncle's cabin. And it's like, oh, this is a Friday the 13th movie.
It very much
except
is, yeah.
it's Bigfoot and not Jason.
Bigfoot the 13th.
They even have the prankster. They have the guy who's like, I brought a mask to prank people.
He sure
I'm
did.
like, holy shit.
When he pulls out the mask, it just kind of looked like the same costume we just saw, Bigfoot wearing. So for half a second, I thought they were revealing that they abducted George Kennedy's daughter.
Yeah. My note was, don't have a fake Bigfoot mask in your movie about Bigfoot unless you can afford. And to their credit, Bigfoot does look pretty good.
He looks pretty gnarly. Yeah, he's got long hair. He's got like sweet old like Sammy Hagar hair. Yeah,
he does. So, but I was scared for a second. I was like, is Bigfoot going to look any different than this mask? So they do getting ready stuff. We learn that his uncle is missing, right?
Yeah.
They have a standoff with George Kennedy. There's a lot of people. It's like Trailer Park Boys. There's a lot of people with casual guns in this.
Yes.
It's very funny. You learn that everybody's there to kind of hunt Bigfoot, so it makes enough sense. We meet Jack, who will be our maniac of the movie.
Yeah, he's our main character. He's also the worst human being.
He's the worst.
He's the worst friend in this group of friends. Every guy in this group of friends is a scumbag, but Jack is the absolute worst. And he's our hero.
And they're talking to George Kennedy, and they learned. He says, I heard you barely made it out of here alive. So they know about this guy.
So they heard about the attack, and yet when they come to the cabin, it's all wrecked, and they're like, oh, jeez, what happened here?
Right. They're like, maybe some teens. It's very inconsistent.
Yeah.
George Kennedy is apparently wandering the woods, camping, looking for his daughter.
Setting traps, trying to kill Bigfoot.
Yeah. And they basically have this party weekend, and he reveals that his uncle vanished in the woods, and he's looking for it. And then they fuck. At least 2 of the characters. in this George Kennedy Bigfoot movie, we get a long sex scene.
We do. The funniest thing about it is that we cut away from the sex scene to a different scene, and then we cut back to the sex scene.
Yes. We really do. That really happens.
It's really funny.
Yeah. You'll notice that I don't identify most of the side characters. That's because I can't. If you put a fucking gun to my head, I would not be able to identify who these honkies are.
There's so much, man. I had a couple of, like, they keep doing these comedy bits that are supposed to be, like, this movie's barely 85 minutes long, and they are struggling to fill each minute.
There's like 10 minutes of them just walking through the woods quietly.
Yep. The dinner table scene right before all the fucking is agony.
Yep.
Like there's this bit where like he's like yelling at this one dude where he's like, "Can you be quiet? Can you do that for me? Can you? Can you do that? Can you do that for me?" Like they do these bits that go on forever like that. That's not an exaggeration.
No, and I don't know what they want us to feel because the character Jack gets more and more deranged as the movie goes.
He really does.
To the point that other people are trying to talk him down. And so like I thought that was the point. But then it seems to imply he's also the hero. And I'm like, well, you have to have an arc or something. Like if he starts as an asshole, make him good at the end or something. But not
he just
really.
Gets worse.
He just gets worse. And that said, the movie doesn't drag because it keeps doing completely insane things. So we have the sex scene, and then we get the Bigfoot prank where he pranks the girl who's showering. There is nudity in this.
There is a lot of nudity.
Yeah, which I get it. I get why they thought they needed nudity because they did.
Because they did.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't have much going on.
Yeah, and then Bigfoot breaks in, right?
Well, first the dude doing the prank disappears. Like he clearly sees Bigfoot coming up on him, and he's like, and there he's all boy who cried wolf because inside like, don't let him in. He's being a goofus. So that guy gets dragged off. Then Bigfoot breaks in to steal their computer. Yes, he does.
He does that.
And he kills one of them. He kills Tom in the process. And Jack, our hero, just sits there and chokes. Looks at Bigfoot and doesn't shoot him at all.
Yeah, he has the gun. Well, here's the thing. I don't want to get right to the spoilers of this movie, but are they setting something up? Because I wrote...
Yes.
Yeah, I wrote, are they going to explain why he did that? Because they call it out. They go like, Jack, what the fuck, man? Our hero... because
while he's frozen staring at Bigfoot instead of blowing him away, he's murdering one of their friends and stealing their computer.
Yes. And so Jack immediately sucks. He immediately sucks. And then this is when they venture out to go find Bigfoot. And Jack just becomes so twitchy. He shoots at a pine cone that falls. And I'm like, what do you think that pine cone's going to be?
I wrote this down. Yeah, he becomes maximum maniac. Like a pine cone falls. He whips around and shoots his rifle immediately. Yeah. And the other two ladies make fun of him correctly because he probably just blew some Boy Scout away. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And what he says is, listen, we need to save our strength.
Yes.
And
then that means.
And then he just keeps repeating it more loudly until he's shouting it at them.
Yes.
Like, we need to save our strength! Our strength! It's a deranged scene.
It's wild because I genuinely thought this is a plot point. That Jack is losing his mind and will become the villain. And he doesn't.
No!
There's no reason not to think he's becoming the villain. He's done everything wrong. He choked. He didn't kill Bigfoot. Like he's flipping out on these women.
Well, and right after this, he calls the girlfriend of the friend that was killed because he froze. He calls her a stupid bitch and has to be held back from beating her ass because she points out that, hey, you lied to us. Like he tricks them to get them out there to the cabin. He doesn't tell them that they're hunting Bigfoot. And now two of their friends have been killed by Bigfoot. And she's like, hey, this is your fault. And he's like, you stupid bitch, and has to be restrained by the other person.
Right.
This is our hero.
Yeah, our hero. He's the hero. He's the protagonist of the film. And he's
wearing too much flannel.
No, yeah, there's so much fucking denim and flannel in this.
Yeah, George
Bigfoot's
Kennedy
got to
is-
be shitting out so much flannel.
He's shitting out a lot of LL Bean tags.
Yeah.
George Kennedy's wearing a crisp new pair of overalls.
Yeah, he is. And he's barely in it, as you notice. He's the title, like George Kennedy in Demonwarp. And we got Jack the asshole.
Right. It should be George Kennedy is briefly in
Yeah.
Demonwarp.
For $15,000. Yeah, so I can't stress how alienated I felt from the lead character at this point, because I thought that's what they wanted us to feel. And then we do a very Friday the 13th thing.
Right, we start introducing new characters.
Yep. Fodder. We cut to a diet soda commercial.
Right.
And it's these, yeah.
We cut to two ladies, Thelma and Louising it into the mountains to talk about how...
In a Jeep, just like, I love this song. Yeah.
Right, and they're talking about like men are so dumb. Like there's such a stereotype.
Yeah. And they're going to a secret garden, and it took me too long to realize I think they meant weed.
Oh, they mean weed, yeah.
Yeah,
so
at first I was like,
Bigfoot took it all. That's what happened.
Yeah, which explains his behavior.
Bigfoot ate all the pot, yeah.
So they're, and this is, again, very Friday the 13th. So they drive in this Jeep, and it takes way too long for them to get to the secret garden. There's no garden. And then one of the girls shrugs, takes off her top, and just says, might as well get a tan. Like you might as well like had the producer whisper to her in the scene.
Right,
like,
you see him lean in, yeah.
Because
or you just hear it over like a bullhorn, take off your top.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like an improv game that didn't go anywhere. And they're like, all right, gotta take off my top now, do something. And I can't stress this enough. They're in the woods. There's no sun. There's leaves.
It's not it's not a nice place to lay out.
No, it's like a dirt ditch in the woods.
It's where you would hide a fucking pot garden.
Yes. And she's like, well, we drove all this way for the weed garden. Might as well take off our tops and lie on the dirt.
Been in the car for 3 hours. Might as well air these titties out.
Yeah.
It's like might as well be what she said.
Yeah, it's the most shameless thing.
It really is.
And then her friend gets her head twisted clean off.
Sure does.
This is the magic of this movie, because this is when I started being like, okay, this is getting a little dry. Oh my God, Bigfoot. Like anytime you're like, I need a Bigfoot, they're like, we hear you.
Yep, here it comes.
Bigfoot pops her head completely off like a Barbie doll.
He sure does. It's incredible.
It is more than I expected from this movie. Like I don't know about you. I kept getting surprised by I shouldn't say quality, but
I know what you mean. I kept thinking I've seen the ceiling of this movie now. Nope.
Exactly.
No, you haven't.
Literally when I saw Bigfoot, I was like, that's a better Bigfoot than I imagined. And then every time something happened, I was just like, wow, that's more than I thought they'd do. Wow, there's gore in this. Like they're making a movie, you know? They're making a movie for us. Like it's not. Yeah, I would watch this. I would watch this again.
Of the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, Bigfoot is now on a full-on rampage. He twists her head off. And I couldn't help but think about, like, he's killing a lot of people. He kills a hiker, or he chases a hiker.
Right.
This is when it just becomes people walking.
This poor bird watcher. That this may sound weird, but I was like howling at this death scene when he kills the bird watcher, because it's like deranged. It's like a trauma movie death. Like he slams the guy into a bear trap and just agonizingly stabs him to death in the stomach with a stick for like 30 seconds. And it's just this dude, it just keeps cutting to the close-up of this dude screaming, and then a close-up of Bigfoot's horrible face, and he's screaming, and then a close-up of the stick just getting stabbed into this guy's stomach, and then repeat guy screaming and Bigfoot screaming. It was just madness, and I couldn't stop laughing. It was
they just keep showing his eyes bulging.
Right, yeah. It was so crazy that I couldn't stop laughing.
It's amazing.
Like, wow, Bigfoot is just a complete maniac.
Yeah, so that actually brings me to a question I wrote in the notes at this moment, which is, what does Bigfoot want?
I don't know.
He's not eating them. And so like and even when the smoke clears and I know what the twist is, I'm still not entirely sure what Bigfoot his use was in all of this. I just don't know. He's stabbing a man. Again, not mauling, he's stabbing the man.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we cut to our heroes. I believe it's our heroes, or is it the hiker? Someone at some point also, someone walks by just casually, a zombie. So there's a zombie now.
Oh yeah, there's zombies in this movie.
Right. But the wild thing about the zombies is the first zombie is introduced and then like a half hour pass before anybody bothers to explain it.
Right.
So like they have someone pass the zombie and the zombie's passive. It just walks by, like gives him the nod.
Right, like he's on an errand.
Yeah. And then the movie continues. Mm-hmm. And it was like, did I just see that? Did I miss a scene? Am I losing my mind? You know?
There's a moment where, like you pointed out that we don't really ever know what Bigfoot's trying to accomplish. It's kind of the same thing for Jack, because Jack got everybody out there to find his uncle, but then like Bigfoot broke in and killed everyone and stole their computers. So he's like, well, now I got to find Bigfoot.
Right.
But now like there's a scene where they find a bear trap and like, crazy George Kennedy is setting these bear traps all over the forest. And he has some like tiffy little argument with one of the women, and it ends with him being like, whatever, just let them worry about Bigfoot. We just need to focus on getting out.
Right.
Excuse me. We just need to focus on getting out of here. And it's like, I thought we were finding Bigfoot. Like if getting out of the woods is the goal, why the fuck did you hike miles from your car?
Well, their car was smashed, remember?
No, I don't.
Okay, Bigfoot smashed their car. Go. But you're right, because they're not going down the road or anything.
No.
They're going deeper into the woods. So it still doesn't make any sense. Then they find George Kennedy's tent, and he puts him at gunpoint and says to George Kennedy, "You've got some explaining to do."
Right, like they think he's Bigfoot? Yeah.
Yeah, like does he think he's working with we know what he's doing. He's
right,
like,
he's
I'm
explained himself. Right, and they told him in the beginning, "Man, I heard you barely made it out." So they heard about this attack. And now he's taking him hostage?
Yeah,
he's
everybody's talking Jack
fucking
down.
Spill your guts, old man. Right, the other two women are like, Jack, you have lost your mind.
Right. It's like everybody he's just holding this guy at gunpoint. He's worse than Bigfoot right now.
Or at least he is as evil, Dave. What manner of Bigfoot is man is really what this movie is asking us.
And again, I kept asking myself, so where is this heading? Is he losing his mind? Is he getting Bigfoot crazy or something? No, none of that. This is just who Jack is. He's just a bad person. Meanwhile, Bigfoot quietly defuses a bomb and sneaks into
George Kennedy's camp.
He sneaks into his tent.
Yep.
George Kennedy opens his tent and Bigfoot comes bursting out. It's like a sketch comedy bit. Like Bigfoot's hiding in these. Right. I was waiting for someone to open a coffee can.
Right.
Bigfoot
Surprise Bigfoot is an SNL sketch.
100%. And he just beats George Kennedy to death.
Well,
and it's very funny.
Not at this part. He knocks him down and then grabs Jack and beats Jack's ass mercilessly. Right. And Jack's life is only saved because one of the women, I forget what her name is. She was the girlfriend of the guy who got choked to death in the cabin. She jumps on Bigfoot and fucking stabs him 27 times. Just lights him up with this knife and saves Jack's life. So once again, Jack hasn't done anything in this entire movie but choke and fail.
Yep, and just yell at the women he's with.
This woman specifically, this is the woman that he has like the beef with. So she saves his ass, but Bigfoot backhands her and knocks her eye out. And that just like ends the movie. And so Jack wakes up and everybody's gone. It's what happens.
And George Kennedy, he's since been beaten to death, right? He's out of the movie.
George Kennedy, he lures Bigfoot away, but Bigfoot ends up bashing his head on a rock, and then Bigfoot goes back and drags everybody away, except for Jack. He just leaves Jack at camp because I guess he decides he sucks.
Yeah, because he does suck. So now we get the twist is coming up, which I really appreciated this because again, I feel like the producers were like, okay, you get the Bigfoot stuff, right? Let's move on. So we learn about the zombies, and more specifically, we learn that there's a cave of zombies, right?
Yeah, like a cave of wonders.
Yeah, and this is where we also get a wrap on Bigfoot, because Jack, it turns out Bigfoot's weakness is bullets. Jack finally
it turns out Jack
shoots
could have
Bigfoot.
easily killed Bigfoot with his
Like
9mm.
bullets.
Yeah, just a regular ass gun.
And we get a reveal that Bigfoot is actually Jack's uncle.
Yep.
And that's why I guess Jack hesitated earlier. He saw,
I guess,
subconsciously that it's his uncle.
He must have like felt him. This Bigfoot feels like my uncle. I can't shoot him right now.
Right. And now we're getting aliens. And he finds his friend tied up. The alien zombies tied up his friend. And I guess
Gorilla Mask guy.
Bigfoot,
This is Gorilla Mask guy from earlier.
yeah. And I guess Bigfoot was kidnapping and killing people for the aliens.
Sometimes, like, they're also, so they have like this, their cave of freaks. They have a bunch of circus freaks that are all playing with old like computer parts. I guess
they're cultists.
They're building something. They're like building a spaceship.
Yeah, they say they're fixing their craft.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's why Bigfoot stole the computer earlier.
So he's their gopher. Basically, so
Yeah.
what they're positing here is a world where aliens crashed in a comet and like organisms crashed in a comet and like the thing needed to leave, but they needed to build a ship. So for the last however many years, they've been like forming little cultists to go and get them human flesh to eat. It's just the one alien, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's the one alien that is being fed. It's using zombies to build the ship, and it's sending big feets out to do errands for it.
Exactly. Which, when you think about the logic, I guess he was maybe...
It's airtight.
Kind of, because the alien was probably thinking like, well, I need something that'll blend in with the woods. I don't know, just cover it in fur. Like cover a person in fur, I guess that's good enough, you know?
Yeah, but give him a real fucked up face, like a real big face bone.
Right, I don't know why you wouldn't make him look like a bear or something, but whatever. Maybe the alien
made him look more awesome.
Yeah, maybe the alien saw a bear from afar and like approximated it.
Yeah, he's a guest. He heard about a bear. I think this is a bear.
So that's this theory of Bigfoot, is that Bigfoot is actually the assistant to an alien who's trying to escape Earth for, I don't know, thousands of years, hundreds of years. I don't know how many years. And so it's now Jack meets the zombie who's talking to him.
The zombie
Who was
version.
that?
The zombie version.
It's
of
the zombie
Tom.
version
That was
of Tom.
the guy who got his neck broke in the cabin.
Right, and he's just like, he's the only one talking, and he's doing like a real Crispin Glover performance. He's doing like really, like, you know, he's being really outgoing about it.
Yeah, he's really leaning into it. Like, oh, do you like that, Jack? These are my friends now, Jack. And then he just shoots the guy in the face.
Yeah. And so I guess they have him tied up because they're going to use them as food. So
I assume so.
They do this like ritualistic sacrifice because they have, I think the priest is there.
Yeah, so they have like a devil worshipping sex priest room in this UFO where he cuts out the hearts of nude women to feed to his alien blob, like an alien space bat that has a Dr. Claw hand.
Yeah, this is a Bigfoot movie, guys. So yeah, and I guess the idea is like this is all just a ruse for the alien to just have something to eat while he builds his ship. Like I think that's the whole idea.
Yeah,
this is all
feeding
just
them.
Yeah, but it's very elaborate. I guess the alien's bored.
Yeah.
They bring an explosive in, and then God damn, his friend gets mortally wounded, so he stays behind.
Well, what happens?
Once again, Jack does very little.
The first thing that Jack does is they get into the sex cult chamber to rescue Jack's
Cindy.
girlfriend. Yeah, and he sadistically stabs the priest to death. If you recall,
Right. God, he's such a coward.
It's very
and an asshole.
drawn out. Like they zoom in on the priest's face and he's shrieking in agony. And they zoom in on like he's like stabbing him really slowly in his lower back. And they keep cutting back and they really linger on it.
Yeah. And then he
the
manages
aliens
to rescue Cindy. No one else.
Yeah, because the alien stabs the other guy with its like little ovipositor that spits space bat juice into him that turns him into a Bigfoot, Dave.
Right, turns him into Bigfoot. In his dying moment, he sets the bomb off. As they're leaving, they pass her friend with the missing eye.
Right.
And the friend's like, please take me. And he's like, no, and leaves.
And no, he
abandons
doesn't.
her.
He doesn't just leave, Dave. He fucking shoots her to death.
Right, he just shoots her. Is
Yep.
she a zombie?
No, she just got backhanded in the head and her eye came out.
Right, so Jack is the villain.
Like, they could have totally saved her. And again, this is the lady that saved his life because while he was getting his ass strangled by Bigfoot, she leapt on Bigfoot and fucking lit him up.
Right, and
With
Jack
the tiny little
you're
knife that Jack gave her to defend herself.
Right. He's just like, you're gross. Look at your eye. I better put you out of your misery.
Yeah, like he's like, she's gone. She's gone. It's like, she's just missing an eye.
Right. Her and Cindy are both begging, like, take her. Like, please, save her. And he refuses to be a hero
her.
every moment.
He
Jack is a
rejects the
fucking
call to be a hero at every turn.
Incredible
he sucks
maniac.
so much.
Yeah, he really does. And then we end with a dream sequence, the very Friday the 13th, where he wakes up in a void. And then, like, in the dream sequence, he wakes up again, and he's still in that weird void. I feel like they couldn't afford a bedroom set.
Yeah, it's probably just like a community theater set.
Yeah, and it's just his trauma, I guess.
I did like, so in the dream, he's in bed with Cindy and then a bunch of zombies and stuff and Bigfoots, and he's like, ugh, and then he wakes up from that, but he's in bed alone, and I think that's probably the most responsible thing the movie does.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, yeah, they are. I imagine the drive back, and he's just like, can we talk? And she's like, no. In fact, I'm getting out to the first rest stop, and I'm calling the police on you.
Just shot
you.
that lady.
He committed murder.
Totally savable. She had a serious injury, but it's totally not a fatal one. Like you can bounce back from that.
She could walk.
Yeah.
She could have probably gotten out on her own.
Yeah.
Like Jack
she could
didn't
have
even
probably
have to
killed
save her.
another Bigfoot.
Yeah. Wild. Fucking wild film. And now it's time for Bigfoot facts.
Man.
These are the facts. I have 9 listed.
This is what this movie taught us about Bigfoot. We're going to continue adding to this list as we go. All of the knowledge that these films have to teach us about big feats and big feet society, big feet culture, big feet facts.
Do you have a list?
I do. I have a few.
All right, I'll start.
This movie had a lot of information.
Bigfoot will break into your house at any time. Mm-hmm. Daytime, he has no fear of people.
No. No. Similarly, I have Bigfoot's practice lightning strike home invasions.
Yep. Oh yeah.
They will storm in at any hour of the day. They will snap necks and they will steal computers.
Yeah. This makes more sense in the end, but Bigfoot knows how to break cars and what they are. In theory, that means he could also drive a car.
I'm sure he could. He, as I mentioned, big feats will steal computers, so keep your electronics locked up.
Yep, that means he knows what a computer is.
Yep. He can defuse bombs, clearly.
Yeah.
Bigfoot likes to watch.
He does. Mm-hmm. I'm writing that down in mine just to make sure.
Yeah.
Like to watch. I'm crediting Demonwarp. I'm making sure we have an organized list here.
Good. Yeah. No, this is important. It's important.
Bigfoot can and will twist your head clean off.
Oh yeah.
His main method of attack, in fact, is head grabbing.
I think we already suspected that about Bigfoot. Like you look at a Bigfoot, and you're like, I bet he's just gonna twist my head off.
Yep.
Bigfoot hates liberated women.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
He really does.
Bigfoot hates liberated women.
He does.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know what's Bigfoot and what's the uncle, you know? Maybe the uncle hates that.
Hey, they're one and the same, man.
They're one and the same. Bigfoot doesn't want to eat you. He just likes the thrill of killing.
It's true.
I have more.
I have a couple more. Yeah, sure. Keep going.
Bigfoot knows how to defuse a bomb. It stands to reason that he also knows how to arm a bomb.
Yeah. The mad bomber. It's fucking Bigfoot.
Yeah. Bigfoot can go stealthy. He can hide in tents. Like anybody else, Bigfoot could just get killed by a few bullets.
Yeah, you just shoot him. Shoot Bigfoot.
Yep. And then my final one, sometimes big feets are people.
Right, yeah. I have sometimes Bigfoots are uncles.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, obviously, the most important thing, Bigfoots are made by aliens.
yes, made by aliens.
Or did we already have that?
I had that in our people, but I'm making that its own thing. That's definitive. Big feets made by aliens.
Made by aliens. Manufactured by an alien bat juice tube.
As aids, right? Like as assistants.
Right, like as a little gopher, as a little PA.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that's everything.
Yeah, we learned a lot. We're gonna keep updating this, as we said, and make sure it's a good reference that stands the test of time, I think.
Absolutely. Now it's time for our final segment, which I didn't introduce. It's called "Be Like Mulder." We're gonna inject Mulder into this movie and talk about what he would have done. Now,
it's hard not to
future.
It's hard not to watch movies like this and not sit there and think about what Mulder would do.
Exactly, and I think for a lot of future movies, it'll be harder or more fun to inject him in. I have a big offer about how to put Mulder in this.
Just in case anyone is unclear, we are, of course, referring to Agent Fox Mulder, the character played by David Duchovny on The X-Files.
Yes.
We do a podcast, in fact, called Fox Mulder is a Maniac that is exclusive on our Patreon.
Yep, about how he is, in fact, terrible. Mulder, I think, is really easy to put into this movie. You just change the name Jack to Mulder.
That's one move.
Yeah.
That's one move. I thought about that.
Yeah, you just control find, delete, or replace Jack with Mulder on the script. I've
got another similar idea. I'm going to toss it your way. Let me know what you think.
Oh, please do.
Similarly, all you need to do to put Mulder in this movie is replace George Kennedy with him. Because George Kennedy's doing Mulder's actual, he's literally looking for his daughter.
Yes.
So Mulder would be tearing ass through this mountain, looking for his sister, setting traps.
But if we don't replace Mulder, I do think he'd still take a lot of the place of these characters. So he would be called in.
One thing is without question is that he would be running around the mountain, setting traps and shooting his gun.
Oh yeah, you imagine like the cold open is George Kennedy, right?
Yeah.
And then we cut to the credits. It would be Mulder called in with these groups. Maybe he's undercover hanging out like one of their friends. Probably he's just there along for the ride where they're like, who's this guy? And he's like, oh, Agent Fox Mulder.
Right up to the Bigfoot cabin. Yeah. So have you ever seen a Bigfoot in these parts?
Yeah. I think in the first conversation around the table, he would reference some old mystical text and suggest that aliens are making Bigfoot and be completely right.
Oh, yeah, he'd peg this instantly.
Yeah, he'd immediately go oh, Bigfoots are actually alien grunts. We're going to look for alien. And that's so Mulder to look for aliens, right?
Right.
To find aliens. So he'd find some ash on the ground or something and go this is aliens. I think what we're having. And if Scully was there, she'd be like, are you suggesting Bigfoot? And he'd be like, no. Aliens as Bigfoot.
No, Bigfoot's
he'd
a gentle
be really
creature.
condescending.
They rarely attack humans. They do their best to stay hidden from society. This is something else. Yeah, so he would also peg that they would come in and investigate the cabin and see it all torn up. And you're like, oh man, I hope my Uncle Clem's all right. And then Mulder would somehow immediately know that Clem was Bigfoot. He'd just be like, something tells me Clem didn't go very far.
Yeah.
He would
100%.
just know already that Clem was Bigfoot.
He'd know everything for no good reason.
Now, would he be angry about the alien Bigfoot thing, or would he embrace it? Or, third possibility, does he just accept that as a new mythology, being like, okay, some Bigfeets are Bigfeets, and then some are alien Bigfeets that are made by aliens?
Yeah, he'd definitely end on his computer with his big glasses, typing some poetry.
Typing a soliloquy about sometimes aliens as uncles and sending it to Skinner.
About how our mythology is rooted in the skies above or something. Man, look to the stars for mythology. And They were never more right and crap like that. Yeah, and send
Many
Skinner.
ancient cultures have their own version of stories about aliens transforming people into Bigfoots.
Skinner just chugging Pepto, reading
just
it.
throws it away.
Yeah, definitely would happen. Mulder would have probably shot the man doing the Bigfoot prank, or at least tackled him.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I think you can't put a Bigfoot suit on when Mulder's anywhere within 5 miles.
Yep. I think the first Bigfoot attack in the cabin.
He gets a Google alert. Sorry.
Yeah. I think he wouldn't be Jack. I think what would happen is Mulder would have been immediately knocked out. And spent the attack crumpled in the corner.
Well, he would either be George Kennedy in the first scene where he just gets fucking knocked out as soon as Bigfoot bursts in, or he'd be Tom in the cabin scene, except Bigfoot wouldn't kill him. He'd just be sitting there choking his ass.
Right. And I think, he still would, if he had the opportunity, he wouldn't shoot him because he's too majestic.
Right. Like that scene would definitely happen, but Mulder wouldn't shoot him. He was like, I don't know. I just couldn't bring myself to.
Right.
There's so few of them around, Scully.
I do think he wouldn't be involved in the end that much. He would have been knocked out at the lip of the cave while Jack did all the work and then blew up the evidence. Like that definitely would have happened because Mulder has to leave empty-handed, right? And they're so passive.
Mulder would have shot the alien, I think.
I think Mulder never does anything. So I think at the end he would just be out of that. Like they always show up too late, right?
Like what am I talking about? I think so if Mulder had been the one to go into the spaceship, I think he would have caused more damage just petulantly. Yes. Like he couldn't just take it as we just destroy the ship and that's enough. He'd have to like piss in a corner or something. But I think what would actually happen is he would just wake up among the circus freaks and the computer parts.
Yeah, you're right.
Having been knocked out by Bigfoot hours ago.
Right. I think it's a 50-50 about shooting Bigfoot, meaning that he would have either figured it out while Jack shot his uncle, and that would have been the tragedy, or you'd have the ending scene where he shoots Bigfoot, and Bigfoot turns into a human, and there's no evidence.
Yeah.
Mulder would not go on trial for this. Skinner would cover it up, as he always does. It would be one of those fireable offenses we talk about.
Right, and it would be in his book like, and then the local authorities can't understand what would make a man like Clem suddenly go crazy and twist a woman's head off down near his secret pot garden.
Exactly. I think that would absolutely be the ending.
Yeah. It would be. It'd be like standing as shapes.
Yeah, exactly. It would be exactly that. Other than that, he'd get his ass kicked. Yeah. Anytime someone gets their ass kicked in this movie, it
would just be Mulder. Just swap in Mulder. Yeah, he's getting beat up by the Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's hard because Jack really does feel like a fucking Mulder in this.
He does a lot of Mulder shit.
Pointing his gun at George Kennedy, being like, "Well, explain yourself."
Taking him hostage for no reason.
Yeah.
I know you and the Bigfoot are in on this. What?
Yeah, constantly getting his ass kicked.
Yeah. Shooting at a
contributing
pine cone.
Nothing. Shooting at the pine cone. Oh my God. Mulder would 100% do that.
He would have lost the gun though, eventually.
Yeah. And like the girlfriend could be Scully, right? Like easily doing most of the legwork. Mulder just
holding him back.
Way.
Restraining him physically from attacking someone.
Yeah. So I really think that's how it would go. Yeah. I'm on the fence about the zombies. If this was an X-Files episode, would they put the zombies in? I guess they would.
Yeah, man. They got to grab all those computer parts.
That's true. They would still be in there. And then, I guess that's it.
I think so. I think we nailed it, man.
I think we nailed it. I'm so
Mulder
curious
would
to know
come back
how this...
with no evidence. A dead uncle.
Oh, yeah. I'm so curious to know what the other movies are going to be like with Mulder. I think it's going to be very, very
with
fun.
our Bigfoot, as our list of Bigfoot facts continue to expand too.
Yeah,
we're about to learn.
So much.
We're going to get to the fucking bottom of this.
We are. We're going to solve Bigfoot.
We are.
And
whatever that means.
I think it's worth noting what our next movie is going to be. I think that's fine.
Sure, let them know.
Our next movie is Pottersville. which apparently has Judy Greer, Ian McShane, Ron Perlman, and Michael Shannon.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously.
And it's apparently
And a
about
Bigfoot?
a Bigfoot hoax. I don't know. I've never seen it. And so, like, I don't know how much we'll learn about Bigfoot if it's a hoax in it, but we'll certainly be able to put Mulder in that scenario, and we'll learn about the human condition and our relationship to Bigfoot. That's for sure, right?
Mulder belongs in that scenario as well.
Oh, yeah. He belongs in all of these. I'm so excited about some of these. I've only seen like 2 of them, of the movies on this list. I'm sure people are racking their brains thinking, like, what are some Bigfoot movies? We have 11 listed here.
There's
11.
a bunch.
Yeah. It's The Future is Bright for Sasq Watch.
Bigfoot is a storied media star.
He really is.
But I think that concludes this little episode.
It absolutely does. And thank you to Bob Grenville.
Thank you, Bob Grenville.
So much.
We pledge to remain ever vigilant on the Sasquatch.
We will, and I don't know. This was a blast.
Yeah.
So,
this movie is fucking incredible.
yeah, it's out of his fucking mind. Oh my god! Everybody watch this. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you
Demonwarp.
anything.
Yeah, one word.
Except an hour and 30
time.
minutes of your life. Yeah.
Yeah, which you might have to weigh that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Results may vary.
Yeah. This was through our Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, GAMEFULLY unemployed. For $5 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys. We have custom podcasts like the one you're listening to. We watch movies every Friday night. I can see Demonwarp on the menu for one of those Fridays.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com where you can find a link to our Teespring store where we have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So slap your little Bigfoot peepers onto that and leave us a review while you're at it.
Yeah, and watch out. He can burst in your house at any point.
Any time, day or night. Lock your computers up. Hang them from a tree, honestly. Hang your computers from a tree, I think.
Yeah.
All your electronic devices.
Fear the uncle.
Mm-hmm. Uncle Foot.
Uncle Foot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Later.
Bye.